Back to learning algebra. Let's make it fun again. So this is on 1.1 and this is on page 2 if you're following along. Today we're going to be talking about variables. What is a variable? Variable and algebraic expressions. Now, some of you might look like, wow, I misspelled that. Well, you know what? That's okay. I can go ahead and change that. But what you'll find here is that I don't actually edit these videos. They're completely just what you get is what you get, because I have a couple reasons for that. So I'm a teacher. I'm a full-time teacher, and in class, sometimes I make a mistake. Kids need to see that. They need to see that sometimes even their teachers make mistakes. When they see that, then it helps them to see that, oh wow, I can make mistakes too, and it doesn't mean that I'm terrible at math. It actually makes a big difference. So here we go. What is a variable? It's a letter used to represent one or more numbers. So it could be like X, Y, and Z. That's usually the most common ones. An algebraic expression. That looks like it's a variable expression. That's what they call it. It's an expression that includes at least one. So like 5n would be an expression. So it's basically, this is saying 5 times n, or 5 times n. So it's a way to represent something in math. There's a lot of different variables that you could use. Any letter can be used as variables. So it just depends on what it's looking for. So let's go ahead and do some examples. So if I did 13 times n, and what we're going to do is tells us evaluate the expression when n equals 3. So evaluate means figure it out. 13 times. Now, here's the thing. What was n? N was 3. So you see that represents right there. That n goes down there. 13 times 3. So we just multiply 13 and 3. If you have a calculator, you could do it. If you just want to do it by your hand, or just do it in your head. 39 equals n. So in this case, 39 equals n. That is an example. Another common one, this is 9 over n. So if n equals 3 again, then we're going to do 9 divided by 3, which would be 9 divided by 3 is 3. So in this case, n equals 3. Let's do another one. N minus 1. Okay, once again, if this one equals 3, we're going to say 3 minus 1. So n will equal 2. That's an algebraic expression. Let's keep going. I'm going to label this. What if we did something like this? The total cost of seeing a movie at a theater can be represented by the expression A plus R, where A is the cost of dollars. So this is the cost in dollars. And one thing I always do whenever I do word problems is I make a little legend over on the right. And R is the cost of refreshments. So dollars, actually this is the dollar cost of admission. So how to get into it. And then R is the cost of dollars in refreshments. Cost of dollars in refreshments. So it tells us, it says, suppose you pay $7.50 for admission and $7.25 for refreshments. So admission was this here, so A. So A, we're going to pay, what is A going to equal? $7.50. And R, it says we're going to pay $7.25. Now, what is your total cost? All right, so our total cost, our movie total, is going to equal A plus R. This is an algebraic expression. That's going to tell us what is going to be the total cost. This is my total cost to go to a movie. A was our cost of refreshment, or sorry, of getting in. So that's a get in, and this is for my food when I'm there. So we just plug it in. So we're going to say M equals 750 plus 725. Put them together, 750 plus 725. So that's going to be 1475 is the total cost to get into that movie. Make sense? All right, let's do another one where it says a power. What is a power? Okay, what about something like this? So you're dealing with 3 to the 4th power. Now, we know that this here is our base. And we know this one here is our exponent. What this is saying, it's 3 times 3 times 3 times 3. It's 3 multiplied by itself, the amount of times that it is on the exponent. So we would take this would be 9 times 9, and then this would be 81. That's the answer of that. These ones here are called the factors. All right, so let's do some examples with this. What about 7 to the 1st power? Well, that's the same as saying 7 to the 1st power. It's just one of them. So the answer is going to be 7. What about 5 to the 2nd power? Well, that's the same as saying 5 times 5, so that's going to equal 25. What about saying 1/2 to the 3rd power? That's saying 1/2 times 1/2 times 1/2. 1 times 1 times 1 is 1. 2 times 2 times 2 is 8. So my answer would be 1/8. Make sense? Let's do one where we're evaluating if it said x to the 4th power, and they tell us that when x equals 2. So if we're looking at that, we would say 2 to the 4th power. That's our algebraic expression. So it's going to be equal to 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. So this is the amount of numbers right here. That's the amount of times that the base gets multiplied by itself. So this is going to be 4 times 4. 4 times 4 is 16. So our answer on this one would be 16. What about n to the 3rd when n equals 1.5? Okay, so this is going to be 1.5 times 1.5 times 1.5. Or 1.5, 1.5. They might write it differently, but it's the same thing, 1.5. So we have to multiply those together. And this is maybe where you get a calculator involved, if you are allowed to. Otherwise, just go off to the side. Well, what is, I'm just going to do it longhand so that you can see. This is just what teachers do. 5, so that's 7, and that's 5, and that's 1. So I've got 5, 7, 12. So 225 is our first one, and we move it over 2, so it's going to be 225. Actually, I don't really want that dollar sign. Forget about the dollar sign. And then I have to do that again because I multiplied these two together, so I need to multiply 225 by 1.5 again. So it's going to be 25, 10, 12, 10, 11, 5, 2, and 2. So this time I'm going to move it 3, 1, 2, 3. So it's 3.375 or 3 and 375 thousandths. That's my answer on that one. Okay, they might also do something when it comes to volume, like this. They tell me A equals S squared. All right, and then it tells me what does each one of these side equals? Well, it's going to be S times S. So if I'm doing area, I would just multiply whatever S is times S to figure that out. So say that S was 5. So let's reframe this. This was 5, and this is 5, and this is a square. Area equals S squared. So what we're going to do is we're going to take area equals, in this case, S is going to equal 5. Now I should have used a different one because S and 5 look a lot alike. But I'm going to take 5 squared, and that's going to equal 25. It's just 5 times 5. It's just base times my height. What about V equals S cubed? Let's take that same shape, and now we've got a third dimension here, like that. And we can even make it cool by giving it a cool shade if you wanted to. But basically it's saying this is 5, 5, and 5 as the depth. So if it's V equals 5 cubed, that's V equals 5 times 5 times 5. So 5 times 5 is 25. 25 times 5, I'm thinking about quarters here. If I have 5 quarters, how many dollars do I have? I've got $1.25. So that would be 125 for my volume. Okay, So let's go to our wrap up here. Let's see what we want to remember on this one. 1.1. You need to understand what a variable is. X, Y, Z. Once you understand what a variable is, you also need to know what an algebraic expression is, like x plus 2, or 2x, or 2x minus 4. These are algebraic expressions. This is a variable. You need to know what a power is. So if I say x to the 5th power, the power is what is raised to it. So this whole thing is your power, and this is your base, and that is your exponent. And pretty much, if you know how to do that, you're ready to go on to the exercises. All right, this was Algebra Lesson 1.1. Now, let's do a couple other just random ones from our exercise sheet. Let's do number 3. This will help us. It's 15x, and they tell us that x equals 4. Let's do 12. This is number 16. Let's do 12 to the 5th power. And let's do 1/4 to the 1/4. Oh, that's number 16. Sorry. I want to make sure I get it in there right. And let's do one last one. And let's pick 1/2. Not number 1/2. That's not going to work. This is number 20. Let's take 1/2 to the 8th power. Okay, so if you want to pause it here and try it yourself, go for it. If not, keep going. 15 times 4. If you don't know it, you can do it off to the side. 60. 12 to the 5th power is 12 times 12 times 12 times 12 times 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so on this one's going to be 144, 144. Oh, come on. So I'm going to do 144 times 144, and then I'm going to multiply that by 12 at the end. 16, that's be 16, 17, 4, 5. This is a good review for me. 16, 17, 4, 5. Add another one. 4, 4, 1. 6, 13, 17. Let's see, 8, 5, 10. All right, so I see my answer here as 12 to the 5th power. That one, I see 20,736. But what did we do? We have to then take it and multiply that by 12 as well. So I take 20,736 and multiply that by 12. So it's going to be 12, 6, 7, 14, 1, and 4. 6, 3, 7, 0, 2. 2, 13, 8, 8, 4, and 2. Okay, so 248,832. All right, and the last one, 1/2 times 1/2 times 1/2 times 1/2 times 1/2 times 1/2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times 1/2 times 1/2. Let's double check we have 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So this is going to be 1 over 1, 2, 8. So what's 2 to the 8th power? Would be 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. So this would be 4 times 4, 4, and 4. 4 times 4 is 16. Once again, 4 times 4 is 16. So 16 times 16. And maybe you memorize that in your times tables. I know I did says 256. So it's 1 over 256. So that's lesson 1.1.